Greetings, Jedi traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the daily trend for week 9, day 5, finishing out the week Friday, March 3rd, 2017. As always, please seek financial advisement when trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only. Support your knowledge in the market, see what's going through my head on any given day. Always make sure you have a solid trading plan and always manage your stop when placing a trade. All right, traders, let's go ahead and take a look at the charts as we saw them in the trading room today and see if there were any potential setups that were of some note. And let's start right out with the pre-market trend as we rolled into Friday. What a week, guys. Friday there it was on the opening econ highlights for today. We're looking at multiple Fed speakers, Chair Janet Yellen. And our VIX was already down. Screen share was already in the move up as the Globex session had already been chopping down. So indices on the bottom row here. NQ holding above the VWAP as well as the YM and the ES. Speaking about VWAP, let's take a pause here for a moment. Went ahead and added, as we talked about in the daily trend from yesterday, went ahead and added a monthly VWAP to our charts, not as something to watch as a level of concern as the market is fractal at any point, but to see where consistent resistance might occur. Not to say you can't stay in a trend and you need to exit or bail out, but noting on any given day where those resistance levels might be. And we'll show those here on the chart today, as this was a post-analysis of the market from yesterday's session. But went ahead and posted those on the charts today, and seeing that now that we have a D for daily VWAP, W VWAP for weekly and monthly. So something new to the charts, as we will be watching that over the next couple weeks and perhaps for the future. Anyway, so our indices already pre-market, we're already holding upside. Crude was chopping, gold already on the lift, and yen and euro in two different directions. All right, our Globex Asian session from overnight was already downside. And again, never indicative of where the overnight London will pop, and then U.S. indices in the AM session. All right, so looking at this morning's pre-screen share, again, indices were upside after a downtrend, uptrend, and we were sitting in an uptrend. We were looking at 53.71, 53.90, and 5400 on the pre-market, and NQ going exactly there today, 53.71. Major support resistance right there on the 15-minute this morning, which became the resistance upside after the 15-minute MML charts do change. Let me just quickly show you here. You can see the AM session draw for the MMLs, where support downside here 53.51, major support resistance 53.71 now becomes resistance as time progresses. So we were looking at 71 and 90 upside. Well, 71 ended up being our high for the session and not being able to push any higher. All right, taking a look at the ES, 23.79 was the current price. We were looking at a downtrend, uptrend, Globex session, and pre-market uptrend. 23.83, 23.90, 24.06 were the levels upside, and 23.69 the first levels to the downside, as the ES managed to work its way back up to 23.83 today, actually. ES pre-market, there she was in all her glory. ES sitting between 23.75 was 23.90 to the upside, and it was 23.75, 82 was the next level up, and pretty much that's where we ended up on major support resistance on the ES today. All right, so there's our pre-trend posted every day 15 minutes prior to the market open with those levels. MML's draws as the Globex session trend changes overnight. And given the snap picture for day 2 as the term soars now, when markets soar, that could be a nice 200, 300 point run. I don't exactly call a $17 open soaring up to $24.27 here on day 2 closing out. But hey, if it gets the hype going, that's where it's at. And that's where we close out the week with a, in the news, California school earning $24 million off the Snap IPO. I thought that was worth a Snap picture for day number 2 to close out the week. It was all about Yellen today. Multiple Fed speakers today. Boy, they hit the Speakers Bureau today. As Yellen finished up Friday session. So 2 major movers this week. It was Trump midweek, and it was Yellen to finish out the week to move the markets, with the VIX closing out at 1096 downside. Core sector list going from the red to the green. And really, it was an amazing move at the end of the day as Yellen, the indices really could not get it going. But taking a look at the gold and the yen and the euro to finish out the session with actually a little bit more of a pullback and pushing up even higher. So we'll take a look at that chart here in a little bit. But there it was after a Globex V reversal, NQ closing out the downside gap. Also, you could also check out the charts of interest as we go through here, and our full session highlights posted at the bottom of the blog here today. All right, so daily gaps. There is where we sit. 5,400, 161, and 2,401 all-time highs here. Market pulling back. Weekly opening price, 32.75. We close just slightly up from there. We closed out the gap here at 53.50 from that move up on Wednesday after POTUS Trump's address to Congress. Why I'm never making it all the way back down, 831 and 67, the next open gap to the downside, as I will go over in a little bit more detail in the weekend outlook or next weekly outlook. But just for say, open gaps downside on the indices eventually get closed, and that's exactly where we sit right now. Lots of unfinished business to the downside. All right, let's take a look at some of the highlighted charts throughout the day. Let's pick out the good ones. As the NQ moved this morning, again, nice solid bars upside. If you got a piece of that right off the open, one contract off or scalping, either way, price action moving up to the Globex high, not portrayed here on the chart, but that was our Globex high up here as price action moved up, and then a little bit of resistance here at the daily VWAP, and then price action, nice next move down. Price action comes back up again, and once you're under the VWAP, 5144 cloud downside, we're only looking for the short entries, but again, we were dealing with a little bit of resistance here on the AD lines today. That's right, the advancers, decliners. We'll take a look at that here in a minute. But as the AD line came back down to negative 45, we weren't going anywhere. So if you were able to squeeze out a scalp there, that was good for you. If not, you might have taken a little bit of loss trying to get this to start to move. But anyway, please note the daily VWAP resistance there, but one solid setup. So if you grab this move a little too late, yeah, that's what it turned into. You made up for it on the downside. All right, so there was our NQ and ES coming up to the European close here. Nice move to the upside. Start a trend downside here with the yellow caution, then giving you the solid bodies, tails down as market ended up trying to continue the trend, but not really being able to maintain it. And that was really the picture of the day, guys. Deep pullbacks, not really letting anything run. So almost a scalping session to either or one contract off and giving yourself the chance of a runner. Please note also on the ES chart, look at that, rejection at the daily VWAP as we just saw there on the NQ. All right, it was all about Yellen today as pre-Yellen NQ started to lift off the MMLs here. 50, 53, 51, we were working our way. Remember, I showed you that chart earlier. 53.71 was the major support. Well, there at about mid-session, ended up being the resistance upside. So if you manage to get in here at the low levels, nice move. You might have taken one off here at major support resistance and ride it up. Well, charts didn't play out that way the rest of the day, but we'll go ahead and see that here in a moment. Price action lifts, gives you a nice opportunity here in the European, post-European close on the NQ. Once Yellen got speaking, here was move up, nice pullback, and then gives you another opportunity. Let me go ahead and again show you that volatility this morning. This was lacquer this morning. Evans started speaking, market lifts back up. I mean, it was just that kind of day that had these deeper pullbacks. All right, so Yellen speaking, there it is, gold and yen and the euro lifting up for some nice trending markets, and we again showed you they just continued to lift up higher. And as Yellen was speaking, we got all markets in the green. Well, that just doesn't that's not the norm, guys. Exclude the crude, markets were lifting up. Same thing on NQ, YM, and ES. Well, someone had to correct themselves, and it was the indices, which just didn't have much oomph left in them. And NQ finishing out pretty much the session, running from the lows all the way to the highs. Yeah, take a look at that. That's right. NQ, once again, you saw that chart move up. You're aiming for the 53.71. Did we get there? Absolutely, we got there, but not with a lot of fighting, as we see the long 15-minute bar here. Again, deeper pullbacks, so you give yourself the opportunity to the upside on any of the moves here. Don't worry about the counter trend, guys. 51.44 sitting above the VWAPs. Monthly VWAP, though, there it is. Level of resistance to the upside. So let's go ahead and take a look at the full session on the NQ. As we opened up at 57.25, we closed upside at 71.25, that MML level. But you'd have to give respect and kudos. Just check it out throughout the session. There it is. You got yourself the VWAP. You have the resistance at the VWAP. Price action finally broke upside, 51.44. Deeper pullbacks, you go, guys, you got to use the trade management to keep you in. If you're bailed out, you're bailed out. You just wait for the next setup. There it is, 2 times in a row, monthly VWAP. You might as well just maybe perhaps just let this last one go, as it is the end of the day. YM, not as much choppiness as we saw in the deeper pullbacks, but again, little move down here, a little bit of resistance around the daily VWAP, runs it down to the weekly VWAP. Price action, and then open. We actually finished to the downside on the YM downside here at 980 around the daily VWAP. And yes, full session. There it is. For the most part, you got to call it chop, guys. Nothing smooth trending. All you're trying to get is some pockets of opportunity. Again, you're not jumping on. All of a sudden, the move breaks back upside. You got yourself 51.44. Your 534 is downside. Hey, wait for another bar that's breaking upside if you're going to go and trend. But either way, price action downside. Not all of these, I would have said, would have worked out if you're even looking just for a point. Price action eventually lifted in the PM session, but nothing long trending here on the ES. All right, those are the indices. AD lines told us the same story here today as we look at each day. Look at that, NQ 5-minute right there. AD line, negative 45. That was it, the turnaround downside that we saw on the chart. Let me pull that up one more time. You saw that move down here, price action pushing down. Why didn't it go any further? Well, that AD line to match right there, negative 45. On a good ranging day, you're not going to go any further than that. NISS NYSE, again, finding a low down here at the pivot. YM pretty much struggling along here at the pivot as well today on the NISS YM. Finding a support down here at 20, really never managing to get any lower. And the S&P on the 5-minute chart here down to 200. Gets a lift, sits above the 10 EMA, but kind of struggles throughout the remainder of the session. Taking a look at the screen share. Again, we looked over the indices. Crude, chopping it out, but got to appreciate, guys, adding those multiple VWAPs now. Weekly VWAP above, but monthly VWAP right there. Resistance, pulls back. Maybe you got a couple ticks here off the cloud, sitting between daily VWAP, but once it pushed above the Globex high, Globex low there in the AM session, you got one nice little pocket of move right here, upside. And maybe take your contract off, stopped out, and call it a day on the crude. All right, taking a look at the GC. What a run on the GC here today. It's price action. You can see here sitting in between the Globex on a 10-7 Flex Renko. Got a couple of moves downside here on the AM session. Again, nothing able to keep you in until you broke out upside here in the PM session on post-Yellen. So, you know, on days like today, if you're trying to get in some moves, I get it. But for the most part, you might as well just wait until Yellen you know, the president speaking. Wait for the post remarks, and then watch for the trend to settle. And that's exactly what we got here. Gold ran its way all the way up to the Globex. Same picture here I showed you here on the 6E and 6J. Price action on the yen lifting up, sitting inside for the most part in the Globex session. But again, a lot of this movement here in the afternoon session was the pre-market on the yen, which really didn't do much. A couple of trends downside holding underneath the daily VWAP, but nothing able to hold on today. Unless you were able to enter off the highs and ride it down as long as possible. But trade management would have just bailed me out on each of these moves. So, hey, sometimes it's just that kind of day, a bread and butter day, where you're trying to get in something and try to ride it with the hopes that the next move will be it. And that was it. The euro popping upside above the Globex high, 51.44 in trend above all three VWAPs, but can't say much about the AM session. Really, what you had here was numerous opportunities downside, solid Heikin-Ashi bars downside 1, 2, 3, and 4, but all holding up here at the daily VWAP. So you really didn't get far. So really pretty much pullback, deeper pullback, and scalping opportunities. All right, let's finish off with, again, where we finished off on the big picture. NQ finished off in between the 60-minute major support resistance, got a little lift off here. Really went from one MML to another. Nice, again, adjustment. 15-minute chart became, from major support, became the resistance. Bigger picture, still sitting upside in the trend. Taking a look at the ES, big picture again here. Core setup, chart number 1. Sitting above 51.44 as we continue to sit up here at the resistance. 60-minute, got to go down to the smaller time frame, smaller MMLs, all the way up to the high here, 23.82. So again, deeper pullbacks today, nothing easy. If you took the entry off 23.75 and you were able to ride it up, good job on the MMLs today. Very nice trending charts. And finally on the 60-minute, 15-minute, price action working its way back up here to the resistance. We sit in the bigger picture, 21.094 upside, 781, but YM very choppy here. Overnight session up to the highs, 0.16. Didn't make it all the way back down. Major support resistance pretty much sideways. All right, Jedi traders, that concludes an insight into the daily trend and key future markets as I see it each day. Please make sure you check out the weekly recap that I'll go ahead and post here momentarily, and then over the weekend make sure you check out, as I do each weekend, the technical momentum outlook for week 10 and video as we see the bigger picture and what we might expect for next week in both directions. Feel free to stop by at tradingfibs.com or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. My trading mantra: one simple strategy, any market, any chart, any time frame will keep you disciplined. You can find me every day on Twitter at TradingFibs, and as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only watch what's in front of me and on my charts. And as always, leave your bias at the door when trading. For those of you that are interested next week in joining us in our community of like-minded traders seeking those highest probability setups, feel free to email me, david@tradingfibs.com. You may join us on any Thursday or Friday combo to view the live charts as they happen in the trading day. Hey guys, have yourselves a Blue Zone weekend wherever you may be. Again, don't forget to check out the additional charts that I will momentarily post and over the weekend. Have yourselves a good day, a good night, and good trading to you next week.